Harper Audio presents All Out War, the full story of how Brexit sank Britain's political class, by Tim Shipman, read by Rupert Farley. Introduction. Demons Unleashed. Not long before David Cameron moved into Downing Street, he spent some time with an old friend, a man very successful in his own field, but who regarded the prospect of his old mate Dave becoming the head of government with some bewilderment. "Isn't it odd," he said, "that by the next time I see you, you will be the Prime Minister?" The friend asked whether he was ready, whether Cameron felt up to the job. With the insouciance that became his trademark, Cameron replied, "How hard can it be?" By 10 o'clock on the evening of the 23rd of June 2016, a little over 6 years later, Cameron knew the answer to that question. The polls had just closed on the third major constitutional referendum of his premiership, a vote in which he had placed Britain's membership of the European Union and his own career on the line. At that point, Cameron was still expecting to win. His pollster and friend, Andrew Cooper, had published a poll that day putting the Remain campaign 10 points ahead. Cooper's internal tracking poll had things closer than that, but most of the 25 aides and allies gathered on the first floor of 10 Downing Street, eating moussaka and drinking bottled beer, expected to scrape a win. David Cameron was a winner. He had been in trouble before, but he had emerged triumphant from the 2011 referendum on electoral reform, and again in the Scottish independence plebiscite in September 2014. Just 413 days earlier, friend and foe alike had doubted him, but at the 2015 general election he had won the first parliamentary majority by a Conservative leader in 23 years. Nevertheless, as Cameron circulated in the terracotta room, aides could see he was nervous. The calmest man there, but nervous nonetheless. With several of them, he found time to joke. "I've got both of my speeches ready. One for victory, one for defeat." Nerves in the room were eased somewhat at 10 o'clock, as the BBC announced that YouGov's final poll had given Remain a 52-48 lead. Within 3 minutes, the pound had risen on the currency markets, and Nigel Farage, the leader of the UK Independence Party and the man who had done most to force Cameron into calling a referendum, had all but conceded defeat. At around midnight, as the first results approached, Cameron and a smaller group of friends and aides moved to the Thatcher Room, a book-lined study where the former Prime Minister had liked to work. Cameron looked as if he was working too, peering down at a laptop. "I'd never seen him on a computer before," one friend said. Cameron was poring over a list drawn up by Jim Messina, the US voter targeting expert who had helped both Barack Obama and Cameron get re-elected. His model showed how well the Remain team would have to do in each area of the country to win. When Newcastle was first to declare at midnight, voters there backed Remain by the slenderest of margins, 50.7% to 49.3%. The Downing Street staff looked at Messina's model and saw that they needed a 52-48 win. A hoped-for 4-point lead had evaporated into a margin of less than 2 points. Pulses quickened. 20 minutes later, Sunderland delivered a stunning Leave victory by 61% to 39. Messina's model said Remain needed a 60-40 loss there to be on par. 2 points short again. Peering at the laptop, like Downing Street's in-housed cephalogist, Cameron
Sample complete. Ready to continue?